Have you just started playing Fallout 76? Have you just created a brand new character who's fresh out of the vault and looking to stockpile a ton of ammo, but you're finding it difficult to get the ammo that you need? Well, look no further, because in today's video we're going to be giving you an introductory guide to ammo crafting in Fallout 76. I'll also have timestamps in the description below so that you can skip ahead to the parts that actually apply to you, because some of you might have already done a lot of what we're about to cover. So strap yourself in, grab a notepad and pen to jot down some notes, and hopefully with this guide we'll get you packing some heat in the wasteland. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Without ammo, your day-to-day wasteland adventures are going to be a little bit difficult. Well, unless you're a melee build, then you don't really need ammo. But if you've just left the vault and you're planning on using any sort of firearm in the game, well, you'll need several different components to actually craft the ammo that you're looking for. And to be honest, some of the ammo types can be a little bit expensive to craft. Now, before we get into where and how to craft ammo, I just want to make it clear, we're not going to be discussing things like legendary perk cards, ammo converters, or ammo machines, because you need gold bullion to purchase those items. We're not going to be talking about items that you can purchase from the Atomic Shop or Fallout First related items to help store and craft components for ammo, because that would be a little bit unfair to try and persuade you to use your actual hard-earned cash to purchase items in a video game. Because let's face it, you're fresh out of the vault, your character hasn't reached level 50 yet, and you don't have the time to blast through an entire DLC to unlock an in-game currency to buy items with that currency that you don't actually have yet. And all you want to do is just stockpile a ton of ammo so you can make your way through the wasteland and have fun, right? On the other hand, you can get very lucky through the generosity of other players donating and gifting ammo, and with the likes of donation boxes that are now available at every train station and generally at most locations, you can get very lucky and find some unwanted items from other players that might come in very useful for you. But we need to look at this from a bare bones solo perspective, because those options might not always be available. So the only thing I'm going to ask of you is to make sure you have a little bit of patience, and hopefully with this guide we can get you up and running and on your way. So one of the first things I'm going to recommend, as this is a great opportunity to take advantage of this method, is that when you've just left the vault, and if you've gone ahead and utilized one of the pre-made builds that boost you up to level 20 instantly, is to make sure you have the Ammo Scrounger perk card on, because with this equipped you'll have a 40% chance to find extra ammo in containers, and if you have the option to rank it up, rank 2 will give you a 60% chance and max rank will give you an 80% chance. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a quick little ammo farming route that's right outside of Vault 76, and with this method you should come out with roughly about 900 to almost 1000 rounds of ammo, and that's if you're using the combat rifle with the .38 rounds. So from the entrance of Vault 76, just turn right and make your way down this route towards the school buses and the army checkpoint at the Vault 76 sign. Bear in mind there will be a few enemies in this area, so unfortunately you will need to use some of your rounds to actually take them down. In this area you'll be able to find roughly 6 or 7 ammo boxes and duffel bags that will yield you a good amount of ammo with the Scrounger perk card. Next, you're going to make your way through this fence and head west until you come to this campsite. Now, this location can be hit and miss, as you can sometimes find ammo inside of the tent, but if you don't worry. You're then going to head south and follow this route until you've reached the Brotherhood Outpost Forward Station Tango. In this location you'll find roughly 15 to 16 ammo boxes, duffel bags and crates that will yield you a big surplus of ammo. Just make sure to explore every inch of this location, from the walkways, underneath the walkways, and also inside of the tents and also the prefabs. There's another walkway just south of the base that brings you down to an army transport vehicle where you can find quite a few more ammo boxes. With this route, you should then eventually find yourself with a surplus of about 400 to 500 ammo, bringing yourself to in and around 900 to 1000 .38 rounds in total. And as you can see, you don't need to travel that far when it comes to this method. It should take you roughly 5 to 10 minutes to actually farm this route. Moving on from that, you can then travel south from Ford Station Tango until you reach this location, Gilman's Lumber Mill. This location is a nice little location to stock up on some extra ammo, as this location is now home to the responders, and in this area you'll find an ammo vending machine where you can purchase different ammo types and also find some junk items for crafting ammo. There's also a few ammo boxes and crates scattered around both of the buildings, so make sure you take some time to explore. Now on to the main event, actually crafting your own ammo. The first thing you need to remember before you craft any ammo type in the game is that you're going to need one main component: gunpowder. Now, the good thing is that gunpowder can be purchased from vendors. You can also find it inside of ammo crates and duffel bags, but when those options don't really work out for you, you'll then need to look at crafting gunpowder. You can craft gunpowder at any chemistry station, but the two main components that you'll need to craft gunpowder is both cloth and acid. Now, cloth can be fairly easy to come by because firstly, you can purchase bulk cloth from any vendor, but you can also obtain cloth from scrapping most junk items that you find in the wasteland. So what I'd recommend, and pretty much what I always recommend to every player who asks me this, pick up everything that you see and scrap everything, and also make sure to store it in your stash box. And if you're a Fallout First member, store it in your scrap box, because if you unfortunately get killed, you'll drop all of your junk items, but don't worry, you can always run back and pick them up. But just get into the habit now of scrapping and storing. Acid, on the other hand, can be a little bit more tricky to come by, but don't worry, there are ways of obtaining acid. You can sometimes find vendors that sell bulk acid. You can also find acid from scrapping particular items in the wasteland, and what I'll do is I'll pop up a list on screen of all of the items you can find acid from. But bear in mind, some of these items and creatures that you can find acid on will require you to travel a bit far into the wasteland to obtain them. But let's look at a quick way of obtaining a good bit of acid. The first method, and I know this might seem a little bit scary for some of you new players, is to head north of Vault 76 and head directly to the Hemlock Holes workshop, right beside the Wavy Willards water park. Now, it might take you a bit of time to make your way on foot to this location, and I also want to warn you now, when it comes to workshops and when you capture a workshop, these areas become PvP areas. What I mean by that is that when you capture the workshop, other players on the map are able to come to that workshop and take it for themselves, making both you and that player hostile. But don't worry, most of the time when players see that a workshop has been captured, they won't really engage in PvP or try to take it over. But be prepared that there might be the odd player who actually will, so you've now been warned. But the reason why this location is so sought after when it comes to acid farming is that this workshop has 3 acid deposits that you can extract acid from. When you place down an acid extractor, which will be available for you regardless of what level you are, over time the acid extractor will produce waste acid for you to collect. The extractor will extract acid every 3 minutes, and you'll be able to hold a max of 10 waste acid per extractor, netting you a total of 30 acid every 30 minutes. So roughly after an hour of keeping the workshop for yourself, you should come out with roughly 60 waste acid. However, if you prefer not to go down this route, and if you're a little bit fearful of engaging in PvP, which don't worry, I totally understand why, then you can look at placing your camp at an acid deposit in the wasteland. The good news is that there are some great locations across the wasteland where you can set up your camp to place down beside an acid deposit. The easiest location is a stone's throw away from Vault 76, so perfect for you lower level players. Beside Golly Mine and just west of Arctos Pharma in the forest region, and at this location, there's an acid deposit that you can set up an acid extractor, and as previously mentioned, every 3 minutes and over a period of roughly 30 minutes, you'll be able to yield yourself 10 waste acid. And a good thing about this is that there's no PvP involved, it's set up at your camp, so a nice little free fast travel point. You can also head to the Wixon Homestead just below the Gilman Lumber Mill, where in a shed beside the main 2-story house, you can find up to 13 bags of fertilizer, which will yield you 1 piece of acid per bag. And also, if you're lucky, you'll also find a couple of bottles of coolant and antifreeze in the barn west of this shed. You can come back here to farm this location for acid as many times as you want, but be prepared that the server item loot pool will need to have been reset for the items to actually spawn again, but keep coming back every time you log in so you can keep hoarding that acid. Now that you have the 2 main components to craft gunpowder, so cloth and acid, and once you've crafted the gunpowder, you can then move on to crafting the ammo type that you need. As I originally mentioned, you might need a little bit of patience. locations. But in order to craft the ammo that you need, you'll need to craft your ammo at a Tinker's Workbench. The good thing about Tinker's Workbenches is that they can be easily found across the wasteland. You can find them at train stations, major locations like Nuka World on Tour, and generally at most World Boss event locations. And you'll also generally find that a lot of players who have Fallout first will have a Tinker's Workbench in their survival tents. But again, we're approaching this from a bare bones perspective. You can purchase the plan from vendors across the wasteland to craft your own Tinker's Workbench, but you can easily obtain the plan for free by completing the Second Helpings questline, which requires you to head to Flatwoods, just south of Vault 76, and completing the Responders Volunteer Training. This questline is very easy, and should only take you roughly about 5 to 10 minutes to complete, as it mainly requires you to complete basic mechanics such as cooking, gathering materials, and looking up entries on terminals. But after completing the quest, you'll eventually be rewarded with the plan for crafting your own Tinker's Workbench. After placing down your Tinker's Workbench, you'll then need to do exactly what you came here to learn: craft your own ammo. Depending on the ammo type, you might need additional resources such as copper and crystals to craft energy ammo. You might need plastic or aluminum to craft other types, but the two main components that you'll need when it comes to crafting the majority of ammo in the game is steel and lead. Now, the good thing is that steel can be very easy to come by because, again, you can purchase bulk steel from vendors, but if you don't have the caps to purchase it, you can gather steel by scrapping the majority of things that you pick up in the wasteland. One thing I'd recommend is to pick up as many weapons as you find, and upon scrapping weapons at any workbench, you'll yield yourself a decent amount of steel. If by this stage and you've managed to reach rank 34, you'll then be able to unlock the Scrapper perk card, which will then grant you additional crafting components upon scrapping weapons and armor. So make sure to have this equipped when you're scrapping a big haul of weapons that you don't actually need. Again, there are many locations across the wasteland where you can gather steel, such as workshops and steel deposits, but the other material we need to talk about is lead. Lead is definitely something that might be a little bit more tricky to come by compared to steel. But don't worry, it's still very easy to come by. You can purchase bulk steel from vendors and vendor machines. You can obtain it from workshops that have lead deposits scattered around the wasteland. You can find lead by scrapping junk items such as paint cans, tin cans, toys, wooden blocks, pencils, and makeshift batteries. But for players who aren't that far into the game and are still fairly new, you can head directly to the Charleston Fire Department just south of the Charleston Capitol Building and just north of the Rusty Pick. In here, and if you head through the main door and then to the right, you'll find a gym area that has roughly 14 weights that will yield you roughly 85 lead upon scrapping. Now, I would be doing this video a disservice if I didn't mention one of the best lead farming locations in the game, which is the Lucky Hole Mine. Upon entering the mine, and once you've explored and gathered all of the lead ores, and once you've smelted them at a chemistry station, but remember you will need acid to smelt them down, you can yield yourself roughly 300 lead, and that's only if you have a suit of the Excavator Power Armor, because with Excavator Power Armor, you'll be able to gather double the yield of ore when picking up any ore with this suit of Power Armor. But understand that you will need to have completed the Miner's Miracle quest in the Ash Heap by interacting with any Garahan excavator poster in the Wasteland, and one can be easily found outside of the Garahan mining headquarters southeast of the Ash Heap, but this method will require a lot of time to complete, which is why I'm not recommending you to do this straight away to gather lead, but it is an option you can use once you're a little bit further into the game. Eventually, once you've gathered enough steel and lead, and once you have enough gunpowder to craft your ammo, it then comes down to which ammo type that you actually need. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, some ammo types can be fairly costly, and to combat this, there are a few tips that I'm now going to recommend that I know a lot of people who are watching this who are veteran players are probably bursting at the seams for me to mention, so don't worry, I got you covered. Firstly, there are a couple of perk cards that you can invest in that will help with the amount of ammo that you actually produce. If you've managed to make it to rank 34, make sure to equip the Ammo Smith perk card, as at rank 1 you'll be able to produce 40% more ammo, and then at max rank 80% more ammo. Next, if you have made it to rank 50, make sure you purchase and equip the Super Duper perk card, as you'll have a 10% chance to get double the results of anything that you craft. Rank 2, you'll have a 20% chance, and then at rank 3, a 30% chance. The next thing is that if you have managed to make it to level 50, and yes, I know that I said I wouldn't be mentioning this because the video is aimed towards newer players, but then you'll eventually unlock legendary perks. In regards to this video specifically, I'd recommend unlocking the Ammo Factory perk, because at rank 1 you'll be able to produce 50% more rounds on top of the benefits from Ammo Smith and Super Duper. Rank 2 you'll be able to produce 75%, and then eventually up to max rank you'll be able to craft 150% more ammo. And with the Ammo Smith perk, the Super Duper perk, and then also the Ammo Factory perk, you'll be coming out with thousands of rounds of ammunition. There are a few other helpful ways to gather ammo in the Wasteland, and once you've ranked up and you're comfortable enough with your build, you can take part in the likes of daily ops and expeditions. And the great thing is that you can take part in these modes straight away. You don't have to complete a massive long storyline or spend hours upon hours ranking up or perfecting your build. But the great thing about these modes is that all of the enemies in these modes will drop a ton of ammo that you can pick up. Again, I know if you're a lower level player, these modes might seem a little bit tricky for you, which is why I'm leaving these sort of methods until the end, because I've tried to keep this video aimed at players who are fresh out of the vault, but unfortunately, sometimes the ends justify the means, and you might need to shine and strap on those big boy boots and get stuck into some of the modes that might seem a little bit challenging, but hey, the rewards are definitely worth it, so make sure to team up with some friends or some random people and get going. Lastly, there are other items that you can pick up in the Wasteland that can help with ammo production. As I said at the beginning of this video, and after completing the Wastelander storyline, you will eventually unlock the gold bullion currency. With this currency, and if you have max reputation with the raiders and settlers, you can purchase the plans for the ammo crafting machine and the ammo converter machine, which you can then place down at your camp. These machines will do exactly what they say, produce ammo and also convert ammo that you're not using into the ammo that you want. But forgive me, I won't be going into too much detail about these, because as the title of the video suggests, this is a beginner's guide to ammo crafting, but I know there will be comments from people grilling me for not mentioning these items and these particular methods, but please remember the title of this video. You, as the lower level beginner player, understand when I say this. You will eventually get there. It will take a bit of time, so be patient and enjoy the journey. Which brings us to the end of our beginner's guide to ammo crafting. Hopefully today's video has helped you out in a big way when it comes to ammo crafting, and if you have any tips or tricks that I might have missed, be sure to let others know below in the comments. And if you did find that today's video helped you out, consider giving the video a like, and consider clicking that subscribe button and that bell notification button so you don't miss out on any videos that I publish. I'd like to say a massive thank you to our channel members and subscribers here on the channel. Your support has been absolutely incredible, and I can't thank you enough for helping us get to where we are today. And as a thank you, you can use my creator code BTCremator76 until July 27th to receive 20% off of your entire purchase over on the Bethesda Gear store. And to you, the viewer, the person who stumbled upon this video, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, Vault Dwellers, stay safe out there in the Wasteland, welcome to Vault 93, and I'll catch you all in the next video.